up, everyone? It's KP and Brown Gent in the house tonight to give you some overviews and strategies for the 2024 and 2025 bull market. We're going to go through our top 5 airdrop picks of the evening, some things you've got to watch out for. And then as a special added bonus at the end of this, I wanted to give you guys a step-by-step walkthrough on how to get some tokens into the Cosmos ecosystem. Brown Gent and I did a similar stream back in December where if you would have followed along, you would have already earned about 4 or 5 airdrops already. But I know some of you said, hey, KP, how do I get myself into Cosmos? Because I don't want to miss out on any more of this Celestia or Injective or Osmo airdrops that are going to be coming up here in 2024. So super excited to get that. There'll also be some secret alpha along the way. So pay attention, buckle up, and we'll dive right in. But before we do, Brown Gent, how are things going? I know you've been pumping out a lot of content there on your channel, and it's been quite a 2024 so far. How are you?
It's pretty good, honestly. Like, I'm one who listens to constructive feedback, and my YouTube channel got like 100 or 200 subscribers in 2023, and the last month I've gotten almost 2,000. So I'm learning because I'm gonna do more of the content that people want, and I'll do it as frequently as humanly possible. Let's just say. But hey, great to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's jump right into this so that we can get going, get you guys some quick content, be in and out of here in a short time. Let's jump over to Brown Gent's channel. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you subscribed over there because he is putting out some amazing things, including the crypto update that just came out today, Celestia airdrops, the injective things that have been going on, pixels, Cosmos, everything that's happening right now. And I know that he's also got the secret society for Web3 that's going on as well. So if you guys need some extra help or there's something that you just don't understand, you want to check that out. Make sure that you've joined up over there. And if you haven't already, make sure that you're following both of us on X/Twitter as well, because that's where we usually put out our quick updates, what's going on, how you can qualify for certain things, what our opinions are, and make sure that you're following along there as well. So between those two, Brown Gent, any other place that you like to send people?
Honestly, just on Twitter, like, try to follow as many people as possible, but also you got to start filtering people as you do it and start trying to notice like who is like legit and who is like sort of just giving you sort of guidance. Just a ton of people who just copy and paste stuff that like is so non-relevant or out of date, and you'll quickly learn who those individuals are. So hey, people ask me all the time, how do you stay on top of these things? Literally, we all have access to the same 24 hours, the same resources. Just go out there, network, go into discords, learn all the stuff. Like, this is the time to make money, you know?
Exactly. And speaking of money, we got to hop into crypto bubbles real quick. This is my favorite place to go and see what's green, what's red, what's jumping around today. I know that you had a nice rant on Manta the other day. It's up almost 21%, but check it out. I mean, anything that's caught your eye over the last couple of days here that you're like, wow, this thing's really taken off other than Manta?
I'm surprised to see Hex doing so well. I thought that guy went to jail. No? Richard Hart or something went to jail?
I think that it's interesting to always see, like, I always find like when FTT, like the FTX token pops up there every once in a while and is green like 50% up, I'm like, yeah, didn't that guy go to jail too? I mean, there's just like so many little crazy things that happen inside of crypto. But when it comes to Manta, you guys know that they just had their big airdrop. It was big for some people, but not big for others, because if you weren't in at the right time and were farming the token, you probably didn't get too much. And there was a lot of people that were really unhappy. Do you want to give everybody just a quick 30-second overview, Brown Jen, of what happened with Manta?
Yeah, so they basically weren't as clear on the campaign timing. They had unfortunate DDoS attack, or what's called denial of service. Basically, what it did was congested their servers. There were complaints. So what do? They shut down all communication, both on their Twitter and in their Discord. And that is never the right approach. Hey, you know what is really cool, Christian? They literally put out a tweet yesterday saying, because of anyone who paid extra gas over a certain amount, we will reimburse that, which is, I thought, was a pretty cool thing they did. So
Yeah, definitely. All these projects, I think that both you and I agree they should do more communication than less, right? When it comes down to it, we want to see them communicate, over communicate to us, tell us what's going on, what's happening. And a lot of things that Manta did were not handled very well from their airdrop perspective. They should have been more communicative and said, hey, we're going to have a cutoff date of X. And if you've got, X amount of tokens or X amount of NFTs at that time, you're going to see Y. But instead, they just left us guessing the entire time. And when it came down to it, there was a lot of frustrated people that just didn't get it. That brings us into the first thing that I wanted to go to is that you'll see a lot of airdrop sites out there like airdrops.io. I don't have anything against them personally, but I just know that they've got a lot of trash on there. So you've got to kind of separate the jewels from the garbage. And when it comes down to airdrops, there's going to be so many airdrops that happen, including already a couple that I've got in Cosmos that just came out to $1 or $2. But you want to focus on those ones that are going to have high rewards. So I always look at these as just hit or miss. You don't want to really jump into anything. I mean, out of these hottest airdrops, the only one I see on here is Blast, and I'm not really even that excited about Blast myself. But are there any sites out there, Brown Jet, that you recommend more than others for people to go and get some insight on what airdrops are coming up and which ones look the best?
Yeah, in fact, I don't know if you can bring it up, but the Leap dashboard's pretty good because they let you know, and they do a lot of sort of vigorous checking. So you can actually in the app, the Leap dashboard, go and check out hey, do I qualify for this? And they show you a lot of what the legitimate things are, because the reality is if I wanted to make a token tomorrow, I could do that and I could say, hey, I'm airdropping it, and I would have whatever token I create show up on this website eventually, right? But the reality is you guys don't want pennies. The whole idea of airdrop farming is to make sure you kind of get something worth your while. And I think Dimension Token, which their claim window ended today, hopefully we see a significant amount there. Only half of the rewards were actually claimed, which means that the other half is getting redistributed. I think some is going back to the original. I've heard some comments that it may be going to some Atom and larger TIA stakers, but we'll find out.
That's great. That's good to know, Brown Jen. I wasn't sure on that one. So, I mean, I think the original airdrop for Dimension Tokens, the DYM, was 210 or so for TIA stakers. And if you'd been watching our previous, airdrop video back in December, you've already staked some TIA out there. All you had to do was have one to qualify for those 210 Dimension Tokens. I think pre-market too, they were trading at about $5. So if they come out anywhere close to that and you get 210, that's $1,000, guys, just for that one airdrop. That's a pretty nice, that's a pretty nice airdrop. I mean, I can't stress that enough, that if you're out there and you're doing the right thing, you're going to qualify for some of these big ones that are coming up. CoinGecko had some good information. I love the videos that they do. They always put together a list of airdrops and what's coming up, but they gave their top 16 on here. A couple of them are on my top 5. I just wanted to get your opinion on some of them as well. These airdrops, a lot of these videos that you'll see are very difficult to follow along with. They'll just be speculation like, hey, here's 16 airdrops that you guys might or might not qualify for. I remember when they came out with the Arbitrum airdrop, on CoinGecko, they didn't really give you much to do. They just said, yeah, just go out there and you'll qualify for Arbitrum. But we know now that it takes a lot more than just to bridge a token over and, cross your fingers and pray. You've got to do a lot of tasks. You've got to do a lot of things in between. And Brown Gent's channel and I will give you the insight on some of these things. But the first one on here, I think, is Scroll. That's on my top 5. I think it's going to be one of the top airdrops that comes out here in 2024. What are your thoughts on Scroll?
Oh, big time. Have you minted their NFT on RhinoFi?
I have not. No, I still need to go
So
out there and do that.
RhinoFi has a special EVM NFT thing that you can basically see how you're doing on, I'm pretty sure, what's going to be your top 5 chains. And then you can literally on there go and see, hey, you're in the top X% of users, and you need to be a certain percentage at least to sort of qualify to mint those. So hey, I thought it was pretty cool. I got all of them. So, that's the ZK swap, or sorry, ZK sync. I always say ZK swap, ZK sync, layer 0, scroll, all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of my next is Eigenlayer. I mean, I think that you and I are both pretty excited about what Eigenlayer is doing with their restaking and their EigenDA layer. That's going to be probably dropping here this summer, and it's one of those things that I think is just going to catapult Ethereum to new heights. I did want to go a little bit through ETH. I think you and I are both bullish ETH right now. It hasn't run as much as some of the other tokens have, and I just think that Eigenlayer is going to be that airdrop that if $5 billion worth of Eigen tokens to show up in people's wallets, the ETH ecosystem is going to go nuts, right?
Big time. And you know what? For those of you guys watching here who are like, oh, I couldn't get in because the supply cap was reached Jan 29th, they're opening it up. Make sure you have your Ethereum ready.
Definitely. I've got another slide in here too that'll go through all of that. Renzo protocol, I'm not too familiar with, but that's going to be built on EigenLayer. So there's going to be things that are built on top of these platforms too, just like with Celestia and some of the other things that are happening. Dimension as well that are going to really be beneficial. So if you've got one, you'll probably get the other one. MetaMask, I wasn't even sure, but they put that one in their top 16 as well. Have you even thought about the MetaMask potential airdrop?
It's funny because they used to. I think it's probably the most common ad that I get, like on Twitter. It's like the biggest scam ad. It's like mask with a dollar sign in front of it. But like what they want you to do to qualify, or the farmers they'll tell you, is go and do a ton of transactions and pay these outrageous swap fees, pay these outrageous prices to like buy some crypto. So I did that stuff, and let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something. I don't think it's worth it. And what's the likelihood? Like MetaMask is so far behind some of the other wallets like Rabby wallet at this point in time. It's just like, yes, they could have an airdrop, but I think it's more likely people were just gonna like literally you can put an airdrop for literally any protocol that doesn't have a token because that's the basis of it without anything else. And a ton of people are doing that just to get engagement. You guys got to remember your views, your eyeballs are money to them. So they will do whatever it takes, even, I don't want to say invent, but say things that they are very highly unlikely just to get some views from you. And if they are doing something that no one else is, you'll come to them for that. So that's why people are incentivized to do it. Whereas if you talk about ZK Swap, ZK Sync, which is like pretty much everyone knows it's coming, it's first half of the year. Well, it's diluted because everyone is talking about it. So
Right.
that's why
Right.
you see that a lot. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And that's coming up here too. But Layer Zero is the next one that I'm super excited about. That one hit my top 5 as well. I know that Layer Zero is going to do their airdrop because they announced it in their Twitter. So they do have a ZRO token that's going to be dropping here to Layer Zero users. And if you guys haven't already, make sure that you go out there. You can use Stargate, you can use Sushi Swap, you can use a couple of the other protocols that use Layer Zero technology, including DeFi Kingdoms. And that should hopefully help you qualify for that upcoming airdrop with Layer Zero. Is that one of your top 5 as well?
Big time. Sushi Swap is my favorite protocol to use. I think it's one of the only TikToks I've done on crypto. Literally, is just like Sushi Swap, and it was like literally like it's such a cool tool and just so convenient. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I bought Stargate. I staked it like last summer. I haven't really done much with it. What was a little weird to me was their Stargate DAO, their website doesn't load anymore for me. I don't know if that's happening for you too, but I used to go and vote on proposals all the time. Um, but Christian, one of the things I'm looking for is I have been doing so much IBC stuff. I need to really focus on EVM, and like if you have that stuff, like I would love to. I hope you make videos on a walkthrough on this, just to sort of get us all refreshed on it.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many great protocols that are building, and ZK Sync is by far my favorite. I had a chance to chat with those guys at ETH Denver last year. They were one of the major sponsors at that conference and event, and I'll go through that a little bit more. But ZK Sync is just a lot of smart people building zero knowledge proof technology in an EVM compatible environment. And the thing that I'm most excited about when it comes to ZK Sync is their hyper I forget it, hyperchains. So basically, it's a layer 3. If you're familiar with Arbitrum, they also too have an orbit layer, which is their layer 3. But these hyperchains are basically going to allow any protocol to build any application on top of ZK Sync, which is going to ultimately roll up onto Ethereum layer 1. So you're going to have the quick, fast, instant finality on next to zero when it comes to the gas cost. They're going to roll up onto ZK Sync using a zero knowledge proof, and then ZK Sync's going to take all of those hyperchains and they're gonna do a proof on top of them and then roll that entire thing onto a blob on top of ETH layer 1. So you get the security of ETH layer 1, but you also too get the speed, the finality, and the cost effectiveness of having your own chain with basically your own gas token. That's what makes me so excited about ZK Sync. And I think that once they launch, I can just see them taking off and just taking over Arbitrum and Optimism. And people will be, there won't be any other L2s out there unless you see something else like the Polygon ZK EVM or something else that's going to really challenge them at all. But what are your thoughts on ZK Sync?
Amazing. Like it is definitely like, so ZK Sync and Layer Zero are my top two. Like not even close in terms of airdrops I'm looking forward to. Probably the most common criticism I hear, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are, is it's been so long about talking about this, and it's probably the most farmed. How dilutive do we think it's going to be? And is it possible that like they will make the threshold even tougher than what we see in Arbitrum? Because a lot of what people's like estimation or simulations do is they're just putting it through what Arbitrum did, right?
Right.
Unique days, unique months, unique whatever, right? How much you bridge, transaction volume, how much like how diluted do you think this will be given all that?
I think that it will be, but going back to the Arbitrum days, I put out videos at the end of 2022 about the Arbitrum airdrop and how I thought you could qualify for it and what you needed to do. And some of the things that I said were off, but some of the things that I said were right on. And I ended up having, I think, 7 wallets qualify for the Arbitrum airdrop, about 22,000 ARB tokens, which at $1.40 came out to, close to $30,000. And that was just that was guesstimate based on how Optimism did their airdrop. And I went out and I used GMX, and I used a lot of the other things that were on Arbitrum and that were some of the big protocols out there. And at the end of the day, if you're out there and you're using the protocols every single month and you're doing a significant amount of volume, you can't just put $20 worth of ETH onto a chain and do a couple of swaps and hope to get much when it comes down to it. You've got to put a couple $1,000. ZK Sync's going to be one of those ones where you're going to need to have 50, 100, $200,000 worth of transactional volume over the last 9, 12, 18 months in order for it to be worth your while. So, when it comes to it as well, some of these airdrops are going to be volume specific. So I don't want to give people the warm fuzzy feeling that they're going to make thousands of dollars by bridging to ZK Sync and getting this huge airdrop. No, you've got to have a little bit of money in order to be able to make money. If you want to do the layer 0 airdrop, you can probably be able to farm that one a little bit easier just by bridging things back and forth and doing some of the sushi swaps and other things like that and just paying for the gas. But when it comes to ZK Sync, I think that you're going to probably have to have thousands of dollars in order to be able to make, a couple $1,000s when it comes to these airdrops. Is that your understanding as well?
Big time. So I'm not sort of going into that much effort in sort of farming this, but I have like 2 wallets for ZK for having ZK Sync, and basically both of them have transaction volumes like at least part of the simulation of like mad green, so it's over 100K or whatever each. Here's my question for you. Um, I've heard that because a lot of influencers, right? They'll post on Twitter and say, here's how much you need. Most of the time they'll say it's free, right? They'll say $0 or $20. You need 5
Right.
minutes and you can get, you can qualify. The reality is it's not just the transactions, but I also heard, at least from what I've heard in all the discords and everything, that you want to have a significant balance also sitting there on the blockchain. A lot of people just go and do all the activity, take the money off, and then like if you have like $10 on chain, I think they're going to look at that as well when they're doing the airdrop. What are your thoughts?
Oh, definitely. I think that a lot of that's going to happen. You got to be out there using the chain, and you've got to be out there doing things. Basically trying out the protocols. You want to try to do some LPing too. Yeah, that's one of the criteria that came out when it was an Arbitrum. Is luckily I had a lot of LP tokens because I was using GMX and I was using GLP, and I was actually just locking up my tokens because they had such great returns back then. And so I had a lot of LP there. If you don't have, $50, $100,000 worth of LP on some of these chains too, they're going to look at that like, well, you don't really care. You're just coming out and doing some swaps and leaving. So yeah, there is going to be a big thing when it comes to volume. There was a couple of other ones I wanted to just hit on really quickly. Fuel, which I didn't know was basically the same team that did Celestia is doing Fuel. So that's kind of one of my, one of my honorable mentions. Have you seen Fuel?
Never.
Yeah. So modular blockchain architecture, and then MarginFi, which is coming out on Solana here, which everybody's kind of farming right now. But we know that Jupiter is going to come out at the end of January and really start to push that Solana ecosystem up a little bit more. Are you doing anything on Solana right now?
Yeah, so there's actual. I started doing a lot of. I think it's called Stake Blaze. You get like B Soul or whatever, and then you sort of restake it through things like Stake City, and then I went into a Camino Finance. But the one thing that everyone talks about, I don't know if it's the DL anymore, but it's the NFT marketplace on Solana. It starts with a T. I forget what it's called, but flipping NFTs there, it's overtaken Magic Eden, which is like the previous Solana NFT marketplace, it's kind of doing a blur to OpenSea, and there's a big expectation that there will be a massive airdrop coming there. So if you have an opportunity to flip NFTs and all that, get some volume, do it.
That's great advice, definitely as well. We all know what happened when it came to Jito. So Jito hit, the Solana ecosystem in December. $225 million worth of airdrop tokens came in. That $225 turned into a ton of transaction volume in their DeFi and everything else. And the Sol token just went absolutely ape shit, right? It just shot to the moon and hasn't looked back ever since. So, these airdrops do really bring that liquidity, that total value locked into these ecosystems, and they really start to, just absolutely go crazy. That's why I'm so excited about ETH. And I just wanted to give you a couple of seconds here to talk about what your thoughts are for ETH, and then we can go through Forbes 2024, 2025, and 2030 projection.
Sure. First thing I'll say is I hate Forbes because you can literally pay to have your name on there and whatever. Like I think it was like synonymous with like the fake guru fake guru stamp of approval in the past. But
Yeah.
I think so. Ethereum, just going back to what Christian said, Ethereum was like $2,100 in the summer, and then we saw all this appreciation. Right, a lot of your favorite tokens 3x, Solana 8x, whatever. Right, and Bitcoin basically went up like about 50%. And Ethereum went up like maybe $300 to $400 over the course of that 6 months. So Ethereum's got a lot of way to run, sitting at 25, 24, 50, whatever US dollars right now. I expect probably end of 2024, early 2025 to be in the 5-figure range. I also expect it to cap out somewhere like in like maybe 12 to 15,000 US and then come back down to probably like 4,000, 5,000 at the end of the bull market, sit there until the next cycle. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Those are great predictions, and thank you to Rubedo in the chat who basically said Tensor's the NFT marketplace on Solana. So if you guys want to go out to Tensor and start using that as well, but my thoughts are pretty in line with yours. I mean, when you say 5 figures, I think at the end of 2024 we're going to see ETH at the $12,000 range. So my goal for everybody who watches the channel is to be able to take that into account and say, all right, if Christian and Brown Gent are basically predicting that ETH's going to be in that 5-figure range. So call it $10,000 at the end of 2024. If I've got one ETH, I've got $10,000. If I've got two, I've got $20,000. If I've got 100, I've got $1 million. So keep in mind what it is. What are your goals? This is the strategy session that we want you guys to be able to set for yourselves, is to say, hey, if I want to make $10,000, ETH right now is at 2,500. So that basically be a 4x. That's pretty darn good on anybody's investment calendar. So when you look at it like, all right, if my investment goal is to have $100,000 at the end of 2024, how do I get to 10 ETH? You shouldn't be thinking to yourself, how am I going to find that 1,000x or that PayPay coin or something like that? It's just, how do I get those 10 ETH in my wallet? And I think that both of us are under the great impression that one of the great ways to do that is with liquid restaking, especially when it comes to things like Swell. And you can take the Swell protocol right now. They basically said that they're going to have an airdrop coming up. And once you get those Swell tokens, they've even got the countdown timer that Brown Gent was alluding to. You got about 7 days until you can start liquid restaking into Eigenlayer, guys. So make sure that you've got your Swell ready and and you can start staking again on Eigenlayer coming up. I know that's probably one of your strategies as well, but what do you think about Swell and Eigenlayer? Isn't that going to be a great combo?
I think it's fantastic. So you can get pearls for doing it. I'm sure Kristen will put his like link to how you can use his and get like some additional pearls. That way you help both him and yourselves out. And then what you got to do is take that, go to Eigenlayer on the 29th and restake it. And by doing that, you will actually get to like, farm both projects at the same time. This is very important. The reason we say, make sure you have it ready is on the 29th, they're going to send a message and this thing's going to fill up really fast because it has been the biggest pain point people want to get in. And if you're holding ETH, the less ETH that is sitting out of circulation, the better for you as well. And one thing that's really cool about this versus other protocols is you can get out whenever you feel like it too. No one's getting out because they don't want to. But you unlike Cosmos, where like you need 21 days to unbound, or in the case of Manta, you have to wait till March 27th to get your ETH back, unless you want to take a 6% cut by swapping it out. This is like just a straight in and out deal, and you farm for the duration that you have the token. So it's about amount and duration. So you want to do both.
Definitely. You guys got to be ready for this one. It's a, Swell's going to have their own token. Eigen's going to have its own token. And you're also getting the bonus of having that 3.5 to 4% on top of your ETH for staking it, and that Eigen staking bonus, which is probably going to be another 3 or 4%. I mean, I don't know any better way right now to take your money and be able to look at it like, okay, this is an investment for me. I want to go in there. I want to have, the ETH. I want to be able to increase that ETH value over time, close to 10%. And then at the end of the year, once we've probably seen some of this appreciation, not only are you gaining that 10% APR, but you're also too, your ETH value is going up. It's such a no brainer to me right now. I know one of the big things that you're looking at too is the airdrops that come to gaming tokens out there. And Pixel's already said that they're doing their airdrop as well. I'm not as big into Pixels as you are, but you have a couple of seconds here to give us the Pixel overview and what
Yeah.
you're doing to get that airdrop.
Oh yeah, so the airdrop farming thing is done. So I'm done playing Pixels for now. But basically, it ended on Friday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I made a video about how I screwed it up. I actually gave up a huge lead because I thought it was over 3 hours ahead of time, and I just probably dropped 1,000 points in the rankings. But the way they're doing it is the top 7,000 players will get Pixel token, and these guys were nonchalantly giving out lands that are worth $4,000 to people. So I expect the airdrop to be something, somewhat big, because this is their biggest campaign. The land campaign doesn't come anywhere close to this, and people were taking this very seriously. So if you were in there and you were able to farm it, hopefully you see a decent return. On top of that, this will tie in to their token generation launch. And one of the things the team is doing that's really cool is they're going and auditing the results for the next week. So at the end of next Friday, they should be posting the final leaderboard after removing all the things that they thought were bots. So even if you got a certain ranking, you may have bumped up quite a bit because, people were trying to farm, in nefarious ways. So they're trying to catch them. And if they catch you with a false positive or whatever, there's an appeal process to make sure that, you're not unfairly getting in trouble either. But no, I thought this was really good. It was the second of 2 airdrop campaigns they did. This one is way more competitive, but it leads directly into their token generation event. So yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool. These play to airdrops are going to become bigger and bigger too, guys, especially in 2024 and beyond. I'm into the Heroes of Mavia game. I've got a couple of pieces of land. They're going to do their airdrop for season 1 coming up here. If you're not familiar with it, it's similar to Clash of Clans, really fun game. They're going to do their global launch at the end of January, and every single season they're going to have some type of program, some type of airdrop campaign, something going on. They've got multiple tokens: Mavia token, the Ruby token, including their NFTs in the game, all of their land, all of the things that you do. All of the heroes are basically NFTs. They're selling right now on OpenSea, and so if you wanted to buy a piece of land, you can, and that'll qualify you for the airdrop. And then they're going to have their TGE, their token generation event, coming here at the end of January as well. Super cool game. These are the things that are the play to earn or the play to airdrop are going to be more and more as we get to it. I know that you and I both enjoy Celestia. I think that this token has run up tremendously because people are staking it, and they're basically trying to farm more airdrops, and some people are staking just a little bit, like 1 Celestia, 2 Celestia, hoping that they're going to get the same thing as Dimension. Some people are staking 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 Celestia, knowing that as we get into it, Celestia, the protocols that are building on Celestia are going to become smarter and smarter and say, all right, we're only giving our airdrops to certain people out there. But what are some of your thoughts on Celestia now that it hit about $20 or so per token?
Yeah, so I'm not surprised to see it retrace a tiny bit. But Christian, did you get a chance to see that tweet about the native wallets on Celestia and all that? There's
No,
something
I didn't.
crazy that happened. So basically, what happened was, since the Dimension airdrop got announced, the number of wallets staking Celestia went increased by 3x or 3 or 4x. It was like 3.5x. I can get you the tweet later. But basically, when you do a further analysis, the amount of Celestia tokens that are actually being staked only went up by a few percent. So people just started creating farming wallets. So what that tells protocols is you've got to be a lot more stricter on your thresholds. So we got lucky. 1 Celestia token was enough to get 205 Dimension tokens from the Dimension airdrop. That's not going to be the case in the future. People are taking advantage of this. Protocols are waking up, and they're not going to let people just get minimal effort and minimal support of the ecosystem to earn a ton off them. So just be wary and make sure that you are staking a decent amount of Celestia so you qualify.
Definitely. And we'll show you guys really quickly at the end of this video, again, how to do that. It's really simple. It'll take you all the way from Coinbase to staking your TIA and hopefully being able to qualify for some of these airdrops as well. Before we get into the next section, though, I wanted to do a little...
It's time to drop some alpha.
I don't know if you saw this, Brown Gent, but I was kind of excited because I'm a big fan of Near. And the Near protocol is also a data availability layer on top of, right now, Ethereum. So the difference between the DA on Near and the DA on Celestia is significant, as you can see right here. You know, the cost per block, the Ethereum gas per second, and the data throughput is no contest. I mean, Near is by far a much faster, much cheaper, much more efficient protocol to use. And Celestia is getting all of the hype right now. Their fully diluted market cap is somewhere getting close to $20 billion, where Near is at about 3. I mean, I think it's a little bit under that. And Near's been around already for 3 years, and they've just been building a lot of smart people over there. But when you've got that kind of discrepancy, I know Brown Gent's always looking, for those little tidbits of information that allow you to say, like, comparatively, if Celestia is at 20 billion, say, and Near is at 3 billion, you've got a 6x difference there. And when it comes down to it, people are going to use the cheapest, most efficient protocol that they possibly can. So I'm thinking that we might see a reversion to the mean at some point. But do you have any, insights on what you think between it comes to Celestia and Near?
I think so. I like the comparison. The one thing I would say is, I mean, so one of the really cool things is you can find a ton of good crypto content online. So Taki Maeda is doing an interview series called Crypto Wizards. I implore all of you to watch it. He interviews like some of the top people in the crypto space, and something I heard come up a lot in some of the videos was the Near protocol. And people have like a negative perception on it just because of what happened with the price, rightly or wrongly, right? These things happen, but when you have a protocol that's sitting with people who are like down bad or have lost money, whereas you get a fresh new protocol that's only generated winners, there's also a reason why that hype and momentum continues. Once again, it's all perception, right? The first time TIA goes through the same cycle, the same thing's going to happen to it as well, where people go get disheartened. But right now, most people who have Celestia have only made money on it. And that's why you hear all positive things about Celestia and not as positive things about Near. But I'm telling you, like as Christian said, there are advantages to sort of being in some of these technologies. And the reality is just, by getting the alpha that Christian is showing you here, I just quickly checked the charts. December 25th, the Near token was $4.30. It's sitting at $2.90 right now. So it has corrected maybe like 30 to 40% in the last month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you already know, like, this is where it was just, before any of the Bitcoin sort of like things. So there's an opportunity there. And not just that, the high point was like $20. So like there is huge opportunity. Like that's a 10x opportunity right there. And that's not even taking into account Celestia and like, its battle that it's going to face very soon. So
Definitely. You're so right. And when it comes down to it, guys, I met both of these people at the ETH Denver 2023 conference. I got a chance to sit down with the ZK Sync team, talk to them about what they were doing, what they were building, hyperchains and everything else, account abstraction. I also got a chance to sit down and talk to all of the guys at Near. And Near and ZK Sync were both major sponsors at ETH Denver 2023. We have ETH Denver 2024 coming up next month, end of February to the beginning of March. Going to be so cool. There's going to be a ton of people there that you probably know and love and watch on YouTube, including me. And I think that that's going to be a great place to get a chance to meet some of these people. There's a ton of side events that are going on as well. So if you're in the Denver area and you just want to join in some of these side events, you definitely can as well. I've organized the DeFi Kingdoms meetup, which is going to happen on Friday, March 1st from 5 to 8 p.m. So come by, hang out with us at Honey Elixir. Enjoy that as well. But for you, Brown Jen, are you planning to go into any of these events 2024? I know that we talked about ETH Denver a little bit.
I wish. I remember like we were talking about it. So with my new role in pharma, like I'm actually going to be in a congress in Sweden, like Stockholm, Sweden, from that actually like February like 18th or something, and I come home at like the end of February. So like I think I get home either on February 29th or March 1st. So yeah, like I'm gonna miss this one, but I'm definitely gonna try to come to some of the other crypto conferences. It's great to go out there and learn and hear about projects. The plenary sessions are very, very good. They're done very professionally. And you get to meet a lot of people. The one thing I would say is, at least, and maybe this was just 3XP, I felt like everyone there was trying to sell their sort of project to us, and there wasn't that many community members. There were more people who were like team, like project teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Ethen's probably
yeah.
different.
Well, when you get 25,000 people together, all talking about their different projects and protocols, including people that aren't in Ethereum, because as you remember, probably last year, ETH wasn't, Near wasn't a part of ETH. It wasn't a layer two. It wasn't a data validity layer. It was its own L1. It was an alt L1. So that Solana's actually got a little presence there as well. So there's other, people, Avalanche, that are building things that are at ETH Denver. And so it is kind of a meeting of, people that have that decentralized kind of value set. So they call it ETH Denver, but they do bring together a ton of different protocols. It's not as big of a shill event where people come just to say, hey, I'm building this amazing game and I want you to come out here and use it. It's more like, hey, I'm building these really cool little tools that you can use on top of ETH or on top of any EVM and be able to get together with like-minded people and check out things. And, they have like little things too, like the DJ chill room and the gaming, booths. And they actually had a free wallet for people that were using it. And so you got to use that at the food trucks and buy stuff using your I think it was ZK. Yeah, it was ZK Sync. So I downloaded the ZK Sync wallet, got $20, and was able to use that at the food trucks as well. So super cool stuff.
No, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Definitely. So we got the events coming up here. All right, really quickly, last off, I wanted to give you a chance to go through because a lot of people have asked me, like, how do I get into Cosmos? I'm new. I'm a newbie when it comes to crypto. I want to start getting some of these airdrops. I want to know how to do it, but I don't even know what Cosmos is. And I was like, well, first off, get yourself to a centralized exchange like Coinbase, like Binance, like Crypto.com, and get yourself some Atom tokens. And then I'll show you the next step-by-steps on how to do it. But what do you give people who are new to crypto that want to earn some airdrops, that want to go about doing it the right way? What's the first thing you tell them to do?
I tell them to research what you're doing, and I tell them like it's even better if you like know some, like if you have some friends who like you can talk to about stuff, because you don't want to do this by yourself. So like, maybe you have like 2 or 3 friends who are also interested in crypto that you could actually discuss with, create like a WhatsApp group, talk to them like daily, and sort of get an idea of what's going on. That way, like, you have multiple eyes on things. You can't just rely on yourself to be the only set of eyes. And then you just want to make sure you have an understanding of like the market dynamics, right? Crypto is an asset class like every other asset class, and it's like sort of, it sways with things that happen in the world, right? So if there's a war happening, or if there's like some sort of thing happening with, like, let's say there's a change in politicians, like in the US, for example, this could have major effects. Maybe crypto is getting banned in a country, that could affect things. So just knowing the sort of political landscape, like I had zero idea of what was going on in politics. I never voted until I started investing. When I started investing, all of a sudden, all of this stuff mattered. Before that, I couldn't care less. So, you just you want to sort of be on top of all this stuff. And then after that, figure out like your security. So one of the things people sort of get wrong in this space is they focus more on like, oh, I want to get into crypto. The only way to make it is to 1,000x. So they put their money in some bullshit token and then they lose their money. Focus more on plays that are going to help you build equity, and then use the equity that you make to fund your degenerative plays. But do that while being safe. Don't connect to shady websites. Use proper like protection, right? So like make sure you get like a Ledger wallet or whatever, and you're not connecting to sketchy things. Make sure stuff is audited. Because of crypto Twitter, you can actually find out. A lot of people will go in and do the audits for you. There are tons of airdrops that I wouldn't have claimed this year or even last year if people hadn't done the audit and posted their findings. What are your thoughts,
Yeah.
Christian?
Definitely. Yeah. You want to be careful what it is that you're doing. So get your money into a centralized exchange. Don't use anything shady that's out there. I use Coinbase. What's your centralized exchange of choice, Brown Gent?
I used to use crypto.com. I now use BitBuy, but you know what, Christian, I'll tell you this. I got an email warning yesterday. I had purchased $50,000 worth of crypto in 2 days, and they basically flagged something and said the government has a protocol where like, I'm like, what? Like, I wasn't even buying crypto. Like, here's what I did. I bought all this Ethereum, sent it to the Ethereum mainnet, and converted it into USDC to like qualify for like, there's this like Ape Terminal, which is like an IDO website. So the more USDC you have on it, you can like you get higher chance of getting tickets to qualify for this. Well, I just wanted USDC, and they literally like flagged me for it. So there's like some sort of review going on and whatever. We'll see. But it's really
funny
annoying.
how Yeah, it's really funny how the centralized governments around the world try to get people
Yeah.
to not put their money into crypto. We'll go over that at the very end, but I did want to bring up the next thing that you typically want to do after you get your Atom token is create a Kepler wallet. You can do a Leap wallet too, as Brown Gent stated. Leap and Kepler are basically the same. They both have their pros and cons to them, but Kepler's the old reliable. It's got some decent tools and dashboards too that I like to use. So either one's great, but go out there and create yourself a Kepler wallet. It takes all of about 5 minutes to do. Copy your wallet address and then paste it into your centralized exchange and make an address book so that you know it's going to the right place. And so when you do get your Atom tokens, if you get 100 of them or 10 or whatever you get, go ahead and make sure that you're sending them to the right place. You want to send one first, make sure it gets there, and then send the rest of them so that you know that you've got them and it's going to the right place. But Kepler, I think, is a great way. I know that you like Leap as well because of the airdrop section of it. Do
I
you,
use
do you use
both.
both Kepler and Leap?
I do. So I have Kepler and I imported the Leap. There's only one thing I would add to what Christian said, which is there's the icky part of this whole thing is a seed phrase. Do not take a picture of it. Do not copy and paste it into anything here. Write it down. Pieces of paper and pen. Don't ever take a photo of it and keep that safe, because if somebody has that, they can literally take all your money. It doesn't matter everything else you did. So if you have a photo of it and somebody gets access to it, that's gone. If you put it in your in a document or something, it's gone the moment they get access to your computer. This has happened. It's a tale as old as time. Please be
Yeah,
careful.
make sure that you don't lose your seed phrase, and make sure that you don't have a picture of it on your wallet. Make sure that you don't label it as seed phrase for my Kepler wallet, because that's just inviting trouble when it comes to, the hackers are always one step ahead of the security, and they're looking for whatever they possibly can. They're not targeting typically individuals. It's more like bridges and large targets that are out there. But even so, guys, make sure that you're safe. Better to be safe than sorry when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Next
And
thing
one
you
more
want
thing
to do.
one thing I
What's
say
that?
is, so what I'm holding
Okay.
right here is a Ledger wallet. If you have one of these, all you have to do is connect it to your computer and hit add hardware wallet. And because the seed phrase is stored here and you would have done all that stuff before, your computer never ever sees the seed phrase either. So if they have some sort of malicious spyware, they still can't get you, which they could if you wrote stuff down, which is why I think the hardware wallets are key. This is a two-factor authentication device, basically. And unless somebody has the seed phrase to this, which you didn't take a picture of and you didn't put it on a computer somewhere, you're golden. So keep
Yeah,
going.
definitely. Make sure that you do have a security device. So Kepler is a great place for your hot wallet, and that's a great place to put a little bit of your money into. But if you're going to keep something long term and you're not going to use it too often, best to have it in a cold wallet. I have a Ledger as well. That's where I keep my Bitcoin and my Ethereum that I'm not using on a daily basis. Everything else is usually in MetaMask for me, and so I just use that when I'm going to do things like this. And when it comes down to it too, guys, you want to make sure that you're being safe, but also when you get into protocols like this, that you're using the right links. And so you want to know that you're going to the right places. And when it comes down to it, osmosis zone, this one threw me off the first time, is osmosis.zone. So that brings you to the actual DEX portion of it, that you can swap your Atom into Osmo or any of the other tokens that are available when it comes to IBC. So your TIA or your Injective or anything else that's out there. But you're going to want to come out here and you're going to want to get some Osmo token, and that's going to be used for gas on the Osmosis chain. And then you can swap that Osmo or Atom into TIA or anything else that you want to, and then swap it back or send it back to the designated chain. So you can get some Injective, send that to the Injective chain and stake it there. You can get some Osmo, stake it on Osmosis. You can get some TIA, stake it on Celestia, and then you're good to go. The last thing that you want to do is go into your Kepler dashboard. You can see mine right here. I've got $1,008 worth of value in here, and then it'll tell you like where you've got your stuff staked. I've got some in TIA, I've got some Milk TIA, I've got Injective, I got Atom, Osmo, and then I've got some others. But that's basically what you're going to want to do. You're going to go out to these different staking validators and you're going to stake with them. And I know Brown Gent will tell you as well, stake in the bottom validators if you can. The top validators, especially, you don't want to go to any ones that are going to be delegated to a centralized exchange. You want to go to people like Stakecito and some of the other ones that are out there that you can trust, that are going to not get slashed, but they're going to give you the ability to get some of these airdrops. So any other comments that you would have about that, Brown Gent?
Yeah, the only exception to that is when something like Black Panther on Injective will tell you they're doing an airdrop if you stake to their validator. So do it temporarily, and you can split it up. And also, once you've sort of given or staked your token, you can redelegate and sort of switch from one validator to another, without having to wait the 21 days. It's like this. So I think that part is pretty cool. But I think the number one thing here is to be diversified, because let's say something happens with one validator. It doesn't happen often, but because of it, they disqualify from airdrop. If you were 100% in that validator, well, tough luck. You don't get anything.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the nice things about the Kepler dashboard as well is this claim button up here, which I just noticed the other day, but it allows you to come in and you can stake, claim and stake all of your rewards back into the different delegators that you're already using. And if you go ahead and do that, some of these airdrops that come up, guys, and I'm sure Brown Gent can reiterate this as well, they'll actually give you more airdrop if you increase the amount that you have staked over a certain period of time. Plus, it's a great way to save, this could be your piggy bank. This is kind of like your savings. I mean, you can come in here every month or so, you can claim and restake it all. It's going to take all of the funds that you've got, it's going to restake them into the same validators that you're already using. And then if those people are doing snapshots and you're getting airdrops, maybe you get twice as much or more because you are a valued staker. You're actually increasing your stake over time. But any other tidbits like that you have that might help people?
Yeah, so we saw that with YieldMost actually. So sorry, Sago Airdrop was the first to employ this. YieldMost is a service that you can actually delegate your claiming to, so that basically it will re-up and sort of up your value of all these tokens. One thing, maybe a piece of alpha I'll give you guys that I just learned like yesterday was you can actually go into Kepler, and let's say you're paying for anything, right? You're using Kepler, but on a bunch of different chains. You can pay with different gas tokens. You can select the gas token and change it, and you can pay with something else if you want to into the thing. It says native gas token, change it from whatever it is to something else. So if you don't have enough, you can still do the transaction, which if you were on Ethereum and you didn't have ETH, they're like, sorry, you're screwed. Here, it's not like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Your SOL. So yeah, on Osmo, you can definitely change your gas token to Atom, because you don't obviously come into Osmosis Zone with having any Osmo, and then you can use that at least for your first transaction to get that Osmo, and then you can switch a couple of these depending on which IBC chain you're on too. You can check your wallet while you're going in. Well, awesome. I did want to make sure that you guys know that I'm a bankless citizen. I always implore people to get some of their money out of traditional finance system, get it into DeFi, get it into self-custody. Make sure that you take 1 or 2%. If you've got it in the bank, guys, it's not doing anything for you. You might as well get some into crypto. Choose the projects and the different protocols that you like the best and follow them in Discord, on Twitter, any place that you can, and make your choices just like you would in the stock market. But yeah, I always feel like people need to get some of their money into self-custody, get their digital assets, and be able to hold them long term, because we all know that all of the dollars, all the Canadian dollars out there, all the US dollars that are out there, all the yen, all the yuan are all constantly getting devalued over time. And the more that you've got digitally that is deflationary, that hopefully is getting burned or at least is going down in the total amount that's issued, is just going to do wonders for you. It's going to make you much more value over time than those dollars that continue to get inflated. With that, Brown Gent, any last final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, now is the time. Like, I think the thing you guys got to take away from this is we just had probably one of the, if you stuck with us through the bear cycle, you've gone through 2 years of like nightmarish, like hell, right? Like 2 years of prices either being flat or going down, and all you heard is negativity and punch after punch, right? Like Celsius goes down, FTX goes down, BlockFi goes down, Gemini goes down. All these protocols are falling. Everyone's calling crypto a scam. We're still holding what we had from before, and now things are going up. Remember how you felt when things were going down and things felt hopeless. Now it's very much the opposite. But that being said, this won't last forever. These things happen in cycles. Just like we were in that for 2 years, we're going to have some great times for next year and a half to 2 years. But it's going to come back. So do what you can to maximize. Now is the time to put in the work. Now is the time to consume the content, learn the space, make those, let's say, riskier investments now, not financial advice, but now is the time. And then capital preservation is key for when you get into the bear market, because you don't want to just lose all your gains. So like, use this time. Like what I hate the most, the attitude I hate the most is people who don't put the effort in and then at the end go, well, what can I do now? Because they didn't listen the whole time. You got a year and a half to 2 years. You got till sometime in 2025. What are you going to do to maximize on it? That's up to you.
That's great advice. Make sure you set your strategy, guys. Just like I said earlier, both Brown, Gent, and I have a strategy going forward. We both think ETH is going to be a great investment for the rest of this year. I think that with Eigenlayer and all the things that are coming up, EIP 4844, which we didn't even talk about, ETH's going to run tremendously. I don't know when that's going to happen, and I know there's going to be volatility along the way, so be careful. Make sure that everything you do, you're just using the best judgment you possibly can. But custody your own assets, make sure that you're careful about it, and it's going to be a roaring 2024 into 2025. I can't see anything that's really got me, concerned whatsoever. Now, there may be those black swan events. We can't predict the COVIDs and things that happen out there, but what we can do is position ourselves in the best position possible so that we can take advantage of this, bull run that I think is happening. We've got the Bitcoin halving coming up. We've got probably the interest rate cuts that are coming towards the end of the year as we get towards the election cycle. Like you guys know, the politicians love buying votes, and they're going to want to see the economy just going up and to the right. And I hope that we're going to see crypto do the same. Until then, guys, make sure that you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're out there taking a look at Brown Gent as well. If you need additional help, he's got the secret society for you. And I'll leave you with this. If you or someone you know is developing a Web3 project and would like to come on the show, please leave a comment down below or direct message me on Twitter. We can set up a time and talk about your project and how you're changing the world and allowing people to own their own digital assets on the blockchain. Until next time, here's another video that I'm sure you're going to love, and let's all help build a more decentralized world together. Thanks for watching.